For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses on a gorgeous Friday here at Saratoga Hall of Fame Day. And congratulations to all those people and equines getting inducted in the Hall of Fame already and today as well, or later today. Anthony Stabile joining me, Andy Serling, talk about today's 10-race card, an exciting card, 3 stakes in today's card, a virtual smorgasbord of stakes action throughout the weekend. Head on over to Naira Bets to get involved. Best way to play. Any track, anywhere, anytime. Keep the money in the game.
Anytime.
Support racing in New York. Stay quiet over there. You read the changes. You've already had your day. Wow, we just went quickly through that, Ben. $200. We'll match you with $200 your initial deposit. The Whitney Challenge tomorrow. You have until 5 o'clock today. $3,000 buy-in. All the details at naira.com/contests. Also, we have a $2,000 pick 5 hit and split. Hit it, opt in at Naira Bets, hit it, and you will split it with anyone else that should hit it. If you're the only one, you'll get it all. And that has happened before, by the way, so don't sneer at that. Saratoga Live, Friday, August 6th, today. That's today, 1 to 6:30, covering all of the action. Anthony?
Yes.
You ready to roll? We got a lot to cover today. Race number 1, we're talking about 2-year-olds going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. So nice performance, by the way, by that Todd Pletcher, first-time star in the first race yesterday. And Todd, of course, getting in the Hall of Fame today. And if he wasn't unanimous, somebody has some explaining to do. And you're just going to load up on those Sappy Joseph horses, aren't you? You're going to get him into the winner's circle when he's 1 for 37 here. You're just going to be plugging away.
I got a tip on this one.
Oh, okay. Big tip.
Tip on this one.
Tip from a barn that's... By the way, you know what the stats are for Sappy Joseph with 2-year-old first-time stars in turf sprints?
I don't.
Happens that I do. He's 0 for 13.
All right.
So he's going to come up to Saratoga with a first-time starter with no particular turf pedigree and win with his first 2-year-old first-time star in the turf.
I was told this horse could run.
Okay.
And I did not...
I'm booking him if anybody's interested, by the way.
I did not really...
All advanced things, actually.
I didn't find anything too salacious to dive into in here. So
you didn't think that there was a giant pedigree on anybody in here, like the 8. Barone Chesco?
Barone Chesco.
Dam of Barone Chesco, the 8. My top selection was 5 for 24 on the turf, won 162,000, went a 96 buyer on the turf. This was half to 3 turf winners out of 9 to try it, and solid enough runners. I thought this was an interesting horse for Antonio Sano to ship this horse to Saratoga with that kind of pedigree. Figured I'd get a price on this one, so I'll take a shot.
Okay.
Obviously, there is a tip on Anthony's. Not only does he have it, but the horse is short. The entry is short price right now. 2 Rudy Rodriguez horses that both ran poorly on the dirt. Do we expect them to be a short price? You got any stories on them?
No.
You and Rudy are buddies?
Nope, no stories. Blinkers go on the 1, no mea culpa.
Which one did you like?
I like the 1, no mea culpa.
The Dam never ran the turf. She's produced 4 horses that tried the turf. No mea culpa. None of them won on the turf, and this one cost $3,000 as a yearling.
I assume you like the other one?
On that one. Well, the other one at least is a half to a turf winner, a very modest turf winner that did run a 64 buyer, but did win the turf, and they did pay $45,000 for this one. And this is one of those RNA ones. It's the 3rd one we're running on the turf now in these races. I end up scratching into the 6 for second, Sailor Speed for Wayne Potts. No Wayne Potts for you?
No.
You and Wayne have a divorce?
No, we're good.
Wayne, want to check in on that? This one, Sailor Speed, actually is a half to a turf winner. Was actually better in the turf than the dirt. So Thought this one was okay. You know, the dam herself ran a 71 Beyer on the turf as opposed to a 63 on the dirt. So actually, I believe it was a little bit better on turf. So some pedigree there. 8-6 for me. Your 3 horses second. Who is that?
Emma's Waltz, her dam, Waltzing Matilda, won the New York Handicap maybe 6 years ago.
With Junior Alvarado
With Junior
coming
Alvarado.
in from
Shipping in from
Europe.
Germany, perhaps. Yes.
So bred to go 5.5 on the turf.
Well, listen, there's not a lot of. I didn't see a ton of turf pedigree. You saw a little bit more than I do.
That's because
I'll use some horses that I. And in my defense, I did not know Smoky White was that short on the line. I thought Emma's Waltz might be a little bit of a bigger price since there is more distance on the bottom, but they're both taking some money early.
The 4 Artie's Angels after 3 turf winners, 3 for 3. One of them was solid. Peacock Kitten.
Peacock Kitten.
The dam herself was 5 for 15, hit the board 10 times, $140,000. There is some pedigree here. The big tip horse doesn't have any, but we'll see how that works out. Race number 1. Race number 2. I guess the horse to beat in race number 2 is Malibu Pro, dropping down off the claim for Linda Rice. We'll go to the videotape 2 races back and take a look. What do you do with a horse that didn't really get bet last time, didn't really do any running, and now Linda claims for 25 and runs for 12.5?
I put the horse second. I couldn't put this horse on top. Just
I hear you.
That race last time was just so bad, Andy.
Well,
so bad.
I agree, but Linda Rice was worth 50% drop off the claim and dirt route. She's 4 for 10. 8 hit the board with a $2 plus ROI, so she does win with these type. I'm not taking a big stand against it. You didn't either. You picked the horse second.
Put the horse second, yeah.
What did I miss on your top selection, Tapalist?
So I didn't like Tapalist last time out because of the wet track.
Good call.
And Tapalist won. And that was first time Robertino Diodoro. So my thinking is if the horse doesn't really prefer a wet track, I would imagine this horse stepping up, getting a dry track now for Diodoro's second time. I would assume there's going to be even more improvement. I like this horse on a dry track for Diodoro.
This horse beat atrocious.
He beat a terrible field, but he's also running against horses now that I think are either up against it or just not in very good form, Andy.
Okay, we saw the race very differently. I'm going to take a shot with Roaming Union, and there's no doubt that Roaming Union is sort of running out of time.
Yeah.
But this is the first drop to the absolute bottom for Roaming Union, which I think could make a difference for a horse who, not that long ago, would have been a huge competitor in here. No doubt this horse has declined, but the reality is the race behind Malibu Pro, 2 back, is good enough to beat everybody in the Malibu Pro if he runs that race. And so dropping down to the bottom, I'm going to give this horse one more chance for Charlie Baker, picking up Joel. Just a decent enough price as an alternative. What do you do with Ectobar, who at least came to life last time? And I do want to show the pan and head-on of the stretch last time because there is a reasonable argument that this horse should have been placed first, says Charlie's Archangel, who finished first in here, and this was the opening race of the meet, did drift significantly and interfere. Is it possible that Ectobar finally showed a little bit of life?
Well, I mean, there's not a chance that he showed a little bit of life. He obviously showed a little bit of life, and he did it at the class level, going the distance here at Saratoga.
Slow fig.
Yeah. Slow, right. Race came back slow. Listen, you know,
Show you the head on.
If you throw out Malibu Pro's last race, those races are all way too fast for the rest of these. But
watch this horse. This is a significant herd. It's just the notion that there needs to be contact for a horse to have been fouled to me is ludicrous.
Well, this one, right, that's the one there, right? The rest of it's kind of incidental, but the last one is so demonstrative.
They should have taken the winner down, in my
opinion.
Probably
should have taken the winner down.
They really should have. And
probably
I was involved. In fact, I didn't like
We've seen worse stay up, so I'm not saying it's right, but we've seen worse stay up.
You're not wrong, but this was repeated and significant.
Yeah.
Race number Trey. The Safi Joseph train continues.
You know,
lighten them up.
I know the barn's slow. The barn has been very slow, but this horse has.
You're Mr. I don't want cold barns, and you're all over
this horse
barn.
has races back for Todd Pletcher up here that were good enough.
A long time ago.
So it was a while ago. This horse ran well enough in the 2 starts off the claim for Safi down in South Florida.
Really?
I
to
thought
win
so.
here?
And
no.
I think going a mile and 3/8, she is the controlling speed today. And I think that is certainly going to help her cause.
She's not really the controlling speed.
Well, who's going to be in front? Who do you think is going to be in front of her?
I think that Tyler should send long pants required.
Well,
for sure. That horse is faster.
If you think...
Lay and... the problem with Set in the Mood is
lay low, making
there
dough.
was a time when Set in the Mood had speed. That time.
And she's coming out of some pretty fast races the last two
Once
races.
again, there was a time this horse had speed. That time is long past. You're going to tell me going to fast races. She wasn't close to those paces. And listen, any horse can get sent. I get that. But no, this horse is not the speed on paper. It doesn't mean it can't happen. But this horse is not the speed on paper.
I think she'll be in front, no worse than second.
I think this is a crazy pick, but have at it. I think it's actually a pretty good field. That's the other problem with this horse.
Okay.
The other problem with Set in the Mood was this is a horse that ran a mile and 3/8 race up here against an easier field and went 50-4, 115-3, and still lost when she was in good form for Todd Pletcher. And with all due respect to Saffie Joseph, he's not Todd Pletcher.
No.
And you've got horses like Single Soul, who we'll look at winning here, coming off the layoff to break his maiden, a Dubowie. And I thought it ran very well in a very, very strong maiden field to get it done. Why is this horse just not a better horse?
She may be.
Like you've got one horse that's an improving young horse versus a horse that's good form is behind her.
She may be. I'm not so sure her good form's behind her. I think she was coming around for Saffie the last couple of races.
He's lighting them up here.
I don't think. Listen, I have no argument to that. I don't have any.
Normally, more than me can't jump off these guys. Instead, you've been picking a lot of his horses.
I have.
Is he eating at Nove every night?
Nope. Those barns, more often than not, they wake up.
But you would never say this when barns are cold.
Sure
You
I
didn't
would.
say about Cantermachi. You said, I don't want to bet his horses. You were right.
But hold on a second. Are you going to compare the?
Yeah, this guy's running a lot of horses that make some sense on paper, and they're not running at all.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, so yeah, I actually think this barn is very,
Fair
very
enough.
chilly. And I think Single Soul is actually pretty good. I'm surprised you have this horse fourth. And I don't have a problem with Costana. What's wrong with Costana? Lost
Nothing.
to Higher Truth, who finished third in the Belmont Oaks, and she's a contender in the Saratoga. We'll take a look at her
There's
last
nothing
race.
wrong with her. Absolutely nothing wrong with Costana. I thought about putting her on top. I did. She was the other horse I would have put on top.
Yeah,
of here.
I think you're underrating the ability. Forget about whether or not you and I, we can disagree about. I think you're vastly overrating the 6, but that's fine. I could be wrong. You could be right. But I think you're underrating the horses that this horse is dealing with today.
No, I think this filly could be okay. Costana.
I also think Creative Cairo is dangerous near, and I'll tell you something. I think Creative Cairo, with a creative ride, could be a speed in this race. And
Yeah, Joel Rosario's done this in the
She
past.
kind of got buried down on the inside in her last start and never really had a fair chance to get out during the race. Now, High Opinion came back to win. She came back when they cut her back in distance. She's not a 1.25 mile horse, and I
She
don't
won
know
the
how
mile
good that
here
field
last
was. But I think that horse is a player. I'm 4, 5s, and 7s, and be surprised if anybody else wins. The only thought that I had was, and I consider this, that long pants required with a creative ride is the speed in this race, and she is the fastest horse. So with a creative ride, I thought she could be in front. We'll see if it plays out that way. Race number 4. Number 4? Race number 4. Who's the worst? Is Jalen Journey the worst to beat? We'll take a look at Jalen Journey. Running well last time, losing Montauk Traffic, who ran a respectable 4th in the Vanderbilt. I don't know. I think one thing with Jalen Journey, sort of getting fortunate to go into race after race.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a ton of pace on paper.
I mean, he was chasing well, not chasing, but he was battling when endorsed last time, which
Not
was a little
really
bit of a
speed.
surprise. Yeah. I guess he's the horse to beat because if it plays out on paper the way it's supposed to, he, from the inside draw, I guess he has to deal with Rock on Luke a little bit.
Yeah, you'd think Rock on Luke. I mean, Eric's got to go.
I mean, have to go, right?
And why wouldn't Johnny be slightly aggressive with endorsed? I don't
Yes,
see him
it
taking the horse
almost
back.
worked last time.
Well, was off a little bit of a freshening, I guess. I don't know if endorsed can run it all anymore. That's my problem.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
your
for
horse
the tag
answered in, I
now.
guess, makes sense. How about it?
He just makes sense. I mean, 2 of his last 3 off the January layoff for Brad Cox. Now, this is a barn that is going well right now. Didn't have the best of trips 2 starts back. Other 2 times when he worked out good trips. And
What was wrong with his trip 2 back?
I don't know, I just kind of felt like he never was able to get in good position, never was able to save any ground. He wound up wide. I would imagine
Well,
that
he was
now,
wide later, but okay.
I would imagine now in the shorter field with some speed in front of him, Tyler's going to be able to get him covered up and work out a really
Yeah,
nice
he got a
trip in here.
very good trip last time
Yeah.
out. But he also easily beat Nighttime, ran very well, but Nighttime had a much tougher trip than he did last time. I don't like betting horses off of perfect trip wins, but I don't disagree. I think he's in good form. As you say, Brad Swartz are running well. His numbers off of wins and dirt sprints are adequate, but not exceptional. I like Wicked Trick. I think he's better than these horses. We'll go back to Westchester 3 back. I mean, he's just running against better horses, but he's not just running against better horses. He's running in race after race after race after race. And we'll take a look at the Westchester 3 back for Wicked Trick, where there's absolutely no pace in these races.
Here we go.
There's just no pace, and he's still running figures that make him at least contentious here, if not good enough to win. And I don't think the pace is going to be blistering here, but I thought we'd see a more honest pace. And I just think he's the best horse in the race. I think his form has actually been pretty good. He's just been dramatically compromised by one bad setup after another.
Yeah, he hasn't had good setups. He's been facing some tough horses. I don't know. I wish I could have seen a little bit more running out of him in these races, but I don't disagree with you.
That.
I don't disagree. He hasn't had good setups, and he's been facing monumentally better.
Yeah, I thought he was supremely logical in here. And if he's 5-2, I'm all in. Race number 5, the two-headed Klarovich entry. In the two-headed Klarovich entry, who do you prefer?
I mean, honestly, I guess I prefer the one, Command and Control.
Yeah, I prefer the 1A.
Okay.
Because we don't know who she is. You know, she ran in that small maiden field first time out and didn't do much running, and then she didn't handle the slop and was eased. And I feel like she could have more blue sky. I feel like we have a better idea of Command and Control, though she did run the faster race. Like you, I didn't want to pick them on top because they're going to be a short price just because. They might run 1-2, but I don't think there's any guarantee that either one of them is any good.
Yeah, I mean, there's no guarantee either one of them shows up. Really, I mean, and they're going to be, David has them 8-5 on the morning line. I'd have to imagine this entry is closer to, if not under, even money.
I don't know about that, because I don't think either one of them is going to take that much money. I mean, it's a Chad Brown thing, and right now, Chad hasn't been taking as much money. Now, he will be soon after he wins 6 races this weekend, but
it's 2 for the price of 1 with 2 firsts that don't really have anything too attractive about them.
Yeah.
A horse in Empty Net that could be 30 lengths, and a horse in Super Blood Wolf Moon who's 0 for 11 and in her last 3 races got beat a combined 65 lengths. So it almost has to be 4-5, 7-5 here.
I considered picking Empty Net of the trainer change, just getting away from that Tom Amos guy. That was actually a pretty live race that she ran at Indiana. The rail was fine. I think the winner wired the field on the inside. Second place finisher was a 1-2 shot. I just don't know if that race was really that good, but something went so badly wrong. On the other hand, she may just stink based in that race, but she ran better. Why do you like Hot Anna?
I just like Hot Anna as the alternative. I always assume some improvement second time out. She didn't have the cleanest break last time out, and I'm just hoping that with the rider switch to Jose Ortiz coming out of a pretty fast race, she breaks, she's closer. There's the second time out improvement, and she doesn't have much to deal with in here, Andy.
Yeah, you know, the break thing, she broke out. It didn't matter. It was inconsequential. She sort of kissed the horse outside of her. It was basically a step slope. I thought she was pretty hard held and taken back in that race. And it had the look of a horse that probably needed her first start to me, and I thought she'd run a lot better. Kind of rooting for Kenny McPeak, whose horses have been quarantined, and he got some sort of lousy luck overall with that. So I just thought she was the alternative in here, and I don't know. She feels to me, like you said, that she and the entry are going to be much more similar prices.
Yeah.
I'd use the 1-4-7 unless one of these firsters gets bet, but there's really the 3 is a half, the 2 horses that couldn't run at all. One of the 4 foals from the dam of the 1, Airborne Gal, was okay. 2. The 2, I'm sorry, Airborne Gal.
Violent Vixen, the dam, most of her wins came routing, so you would imagine maybe she needs a race.
Well, 7 furlongs first time out, so maybe that would work well for her. That's the first 5. We'll be back with the second half of the card, the late pick 5, and the stakes portion of today's extravaganza.
Business meetings, exquisite. Make a weekend outing, exquisite. Make a late night snack, exquisite. make a night on the town exquisite. For nearly 150 years, the Saratoga Spring Water Company has been producing the finest spring water available anywhere. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses, presented by our good friends at Saratoga Water. The blue bottle. Love the blue bottle. My apartment is laden with blue bottles.
Do you use them as like a makeshift vase?
No, I have no flowers in the apartment. I keep the problem is that the farmer's market is on Wednesday. I wish the farmer's market was on Monday or Tuesday.
That would make more sense, wouldn't it?
For us, it would. You know? We should do it on a dark day, right?
You want to start a farmer's market on a dark day, me and you?
No, I don't. You're more of a farmer than I am.
I do have tomato plants at home now.
I have a tomato connection here.
Say again?
I don't need you. I have a tomato connection here.
Yeah, I know. So do I.
Race number 6.
I drive them.
Race number 6. We'll start out with your top choice, City Man. This is two back running second the Fort Marcy before he chased a quick pace in the Manhattan. And he slowed up a little bit right here. This is, I don't know what race that is, but that's not the Fort Marcy. That was the Belmont Derby. Let's see if we can get City Man for the Fort Marcy. That's not the Fort Marcy either.
That's the Belmont Derby again. Anyway, this horse, you and I talked about this horse a couple of weeks ago. It certainly seems like for a horse that has decent enough dirt form, he's earned over $220,000 on the dirt. Christophe Clement you almost feel like he is kind of committed to keeping this horse on the turf.
He scratched this horse 2 times off the turf. In races, he would have been a short price. Maybe he runs down on the dirt.
His Fort Marcy.
Maybe he does run down because I know he broke the gate, but maybe something happened last times when he runs dirt. He doesn't want to run on the dirt.
His Fort Marcy was a good effort. I mean, this is a really nice effort here. And he's running behind a horse that has turned into a horse that is to be dealt with in this division.
He could win the Sword Dancer.
He could win the Sword Dancer.
A big win and a big favorite in the Grade 1 United Nations. He was second to Domestic Spending. He was the best turf horse in the country by far.
Everybody thought he was the rabbit in the Manhattan. Meanwhile, he kept going, and Domestic Spending had to go get him.
And he did. Domestic Spending.
Well, he did. Well, Domestic Spending is otherworldly at this point. This horse, like you said, chased a hot pace in the Manhattan last time. I'm willing to forgive that. He's getting back to the surface that this barn is intent on running him on. His turf races, for the most part, have been solid. That race in the Fort Marcy is best yet.
He's improved and he's super logical. I do not disagree with any of that. I like the 140 under as an alternative. I'd like to see Tyler be a bit aggressive with this horse and maybe go to the front with him. He had a good trip off the layoff last time, no excuse, but he has been gelded since then, and perhaps he needed that race off a 12-and-a-half-month layoff last time out. And it was a decent enough field. He ran well if he can take a step forward. Now, I imagine Cavalry Charge will be in front in this race. I mean, after you're successful as he was last time going to the lead, you do it again. I see Brian Hernandez here, by the way. He's a fine rider.
Excellent rider. You worried about a horse like him trying to take these wire to wire? That race was so much better than anything else, and it was it was a change in tactics, and maybe he can steal this thing on the front end at a big price. I don't know if he can
steal it, but he's going to have to run better than he did last time. But I don't think it's impossible. He certainly seemed to turn his career around, coming off a layoff, being ridden differently. It's amazing how many horses, if they're ridden aggressively, could be better horses than they appear. But we'll see. We'll see how much speed Mo Ready shows in here for Todd Pletcher, right? We'll take a look at Mo Ready running third and No Word running second in the Belmont Derby. The thing is that both of these horses spent almost the entire race on the rail, as did the winner. And they had just taken the rails down this day on the inner turf. So the inside ground was very, very fresh, though you see that. I do think these horses benefit from being on fresh ground, getting the right trip. And I don't even know how strong that race was. But to be fair, I mean, Mo Word, Todd Pletcher's numbers are acceptable coming off of long layoffs and turf routes. And I think No Word is far from impossible in this race.
I agree.
But I think 30 under is going to be. I want 3 horses primarily in here. The 3 you and I said similarly.
Yeah, pretty similarly.
The problem with Value Engineering, who absolutely can win here, and he runs sort of the consistent same race, is he doesn't win. And that's never a good sign in Chad Brown horses. his horses win. Now, I will say I thought he ran very well last time because of all the horses that were close to the finish. He's the one that made up the most ground in an absolutely paceless race.
Yes, he made up a lot of ground last time. But like you said, he's one of these horses that always seems to be just hanging around the money, and more often than not, doesn't
Not
get
getting
it.
the money. That's a problem.
That's a problem.
All right.
At a short.
Mike
Oh, he's
Baker's
got
over
one,
2
too.
days here. Career may be over. He probably
Wow.
had his trainer's
Hold
license.
on to something.
See what happens in a very strong allowance rate. Anybody else we should talk about here?
I think that's it.
You sure?
Yeah.
Conviction trade cutting back from 2 miles. Winning factor. Good horse winning factors turned out to be, huh?
Yeah.
It's amazing some of the bets I
Fun
lost
race.
on him.
Fun race.
Race number 7 is the Hall of Fame, the National Museum of Racing Hall of Fame. Once again, congratulations to all those that got in today. Anthony, I thought your speech, it moved me. I just want to say, it really did.
Wise Dan, American Pharaoh, Mark Cassie, Todd Pletcher, the 4, I guess, marquee names that made it in over the course of the last 2
4 that
years.
were voted in.
4 that
The
were
others
voted
were
in,
the,
yes.
Is it Pillars of the Turf?
Yes.
The reality of this race, and Ranger Fox, not surprisingly, came out. And it'll be interesting because as we watched the Manila last time out, where Original is allowed to walk on the front end, and with the presence of Next, it's sort of hard to see that happening, and Next is actually faster. The only problem that I have, honestly, with Public Sector in this race is he looks too easy.
Correct.
He was much the best in this race, where he was caught behind a slow pace, had to swing wide. He absolutely ran the best race. Now, I know some will say, well, Straw and the Gold didn't run well in his next start. The problem with that is that Straw and the Gold ran a race that was run in a driving rainstorm, in a race where nobody picked up any ground other than him.
Yeah.
So I actually think his race was better than it looks. Why don't you give Anthony a single?
This horse, like Andy said, he almost makes too much sense because, and the one thing I had a problem with last time was the tactics of keeping him closer worked so well 2 starts back. And then last time he was kind of out the back.
Yeah, I don't know
no
why that
help.
happened.
I don't know how it happened either. I'm hoping they revert back to, obviously I don't want this horse on a lead, but
But he's also going to get more pace today regardless.
he's supposed to. He
So-
is absolutely supposed to. He's supposed to get more pace. He's supposed to get a trip, a more comparable trip to the trip he got when he won. Look, this
He's going to
was
be a very short price.
He's going to be a short price.
He
He's
is-
2-1. I can't imagine
He
this
is
horse
way the horse to beat in here. What about Next? We'll take a look at Next last race. Next really ran last time.
Problem with Next is, Andy, he's got to deal with Original, who...
Well, isn't he faster than Original?
On paper he is, but you know there are times where they don't use his speed. He's got to deal with Original on the front end today. I think they kind of, I don't want to say they cancel each other out, but you would imagine one's going to press the other. We don't see a lot of speed duels. I don't know if you noticed, we don't see a lot of speed duels around here. But
You know, I had heard a rumor about that. I haven't seen it for myself, Anth, but I've heard a rumor.
But you got to figure here, one can't let the other go, right?
Oh, I think Next will be in front.
Okay.
My problem with Next is that he ran very well last time. It was
See,
a fast race.
And I think Luis Saez with the inside position and as well
Yeah,
as
that's
Original
fair.
ran, he's going to be the aggressor
I just
here.
think that Next is faster.
That
so-
doesn't always necessarily mean anything around here.
You make a great point.
So
you know I make that
You
point
know,
to you all
I
the time.
do, but I'm starting to learn that
But-
you're right. And in this instance, I do think Luis Saez is a little bit more aggressive than John
No,
Velasquez.
these are fair. Well, let me say something else. What's this horse going to do? Wolfie's Dynagos.
I know. I didn't
has a
have the video, but I knew you were
gigantic
going to go. He's fast.
Turf pedigree, and he's a full to Sadler's Joy, and he's related to like three or four very good turf horses. Now it's interesting because I remember Tommy Albertine. I think he said to Dave Grenig, "I'm going to keep running him in the dirt until he shows me I shouldn't run him there anymore." And now he's running him in the turf, but I don't blame him for taking a shot. How far up? This horse is fast, dude. Right? Can't he be? I mean, he could technically be in front in this race.
This race last time, off of an effort in the Peter Pan that was, frankly, just
I know
not
somebody
very
picked
good.
him last time. It's not you.
I know.
That narrows down to me.
Yeah, it was you.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I made no money with him, in case anybody's wondering.
He's fast.
He's fast.
Now he's got to take his dirt speed.
Correct.
And take it to the
But
turf.
he's a naturally fast horse.
He's a naturally fast horse, and he has to do it with two pretty quick horses.
Well, he's quicker than original.
He is, but he has to do it with 2 pretty quick horses right to his inside who have shown speed on the turf.
And he's got a rider that's the least aggressive rider
Correct.
of the 3 riders on the speed horses.
Correct. But
I mean,
that rider put him on the front end going 45 and change last time and kept on going.
I think you and I have the same opinion here, which is he is the biggest threat to public sector because he's a total unknown. He's a very talented horse who theoretically could be better on turf than dirt, and if he is,
if he runs to his pedigree, he's going to be better on turf.
And he's going to win this race.
And he's going to win this race. Now, public sector has shown this. I still think there's plenty of room for improvement with public sector.
There's room for improvement with all of them. They're 3-year-olds, except
Correct.
Annex.
Right. Yeah. Nice, fun race. This is a fun race because Wolfie's Dynagos will come out there, and if he runs like Big Brother, we're in for a nice performance today because I do think public sector has the makings of a nice horse.
Just Sadler's Joy. There's plenty of turf in that family. I thought the Alidar came up great.
For a restricted, for a restricted
it's a very, very
it's a
competitive
race.
race. And it took nothing away from the Whitney because there's nobody here that could have been competitive in the Whitney, and the Whitney's got all the right horses.
Correct.
This is a super tough race. However, I actually picked horses that had a chance to win. But let's get it over with. You must have a tip here.
No.
You handicapped this horse.
Lyman and I went on a good run earlier this winter.
That would still not make him competitive in here.
Lyman and I went on a good run earlier this winter. His mile and an eighth race was his best race, I thought. He gets what I feel is a significant barn upgrade to Gustavo Rodriguez.
But Amira did a good job with this horse.
Yeah, but I still think he gets a significant trainer upgrade.
Gustavo's been training so long on his own?
Gustavo's been working. I'm not worried about
training. He's the brains behind the Rudy
Rodriguez
operation?
He's been an assistant for Bobby Frankel and an assistant for Rudy Rodriguez.
You hear this,
I think he's kind of he's been an assistant for Bobby Frankel and Rudy Rodriguez. I think he's well versed in the art of training a racehorse.
You have no story on this horse.
No story. Gets Joel. I thought he was going to be in a race that I thought
50-1. So I guess
in a race that I thought was a little wide open. I wanted to take a shot with a price. I'm spreading in here, but at that price, I had to take Limonite.
I didn't know what to do with Art Collector. We'll take a look at him about 13 months ago winning the Bluegrass, because I'll be honest with you. Yeah, he did veer out at the start. There's no doubt about it. He was awful in his last start. He was terrible in his last start. It's not like Bill Mott has good numbers off of trainer switches, so I don't know that he's going to improve the horse, and he's got him anyway. Louis Saez is going to go. He is the speed in this race, and Louis is going to put him on the front. Now, I have very, very serious reservations whether or not this horse can still run. And I may be making a massively sucker selection here. And I agonized over this race.
You'd have liked to have seen if he showed a little life last time.
I agree.
A little life.
He was awful.
Now, I have him second. You have him on top. So, obviously, we realize that if he runs back to his old form, he's going to win this race. Andy, if he runs back to his old form, going the 9 furlongs.
There are other horses in here that are good.
But you don't think the 9 furlongs helps his cause?
Anthony, there are other horses with good races, including Jesus' team, who will show running second to that bad horse Knicks Go in the Pegasus.
Do you feel like this was a suck-up second?
It was a suck-up second to Knicks Go, beating Independence Hall. I don't know. He ran a giant figure.
Yeah, I
don't think it's a. I suck up second. He can suck up here and win. Runs his race, he'll suck up here and win. And why is he? I'm not picking him, but why is he particularly different than the horse Art Collector, who I picked? They both stunk in their return races. Maybe he just needed a race. The guy did ship him all the way up here. It's a pretty good horse.
I will say this.
You've got him third, I've got him fifth.
Yeah, for as little running as Art Collector did last time, this horse did even less.
I agree with that. I totally agree.
This horse, if Art Collector was bad, this horse was atrocious last time.
You're absolutely right. 100%
atrocious.
Correct. Having said that, listen, you picked him higher than I did. But having said that, both of them have to improve, and both of them have good races to get to. I mean, the reality of the race is, however you cut it, the horse with the best recent form is this horse, Night Ops.
But he doesn't win.
Okay, well, he doesn't win. He lost to Dr. Post, who's pretty darn good, and he beat Bankit. He is 6 wins in 6 seconds in his career, so he's not a losing type horse. If Night Ops runs back to, if they all run back to their most recent race, Night Ops is going to win this race, Anthony.
I would agree with that. He
You don't have him in the top 4?
I have him 4th.
Oh, okay.
He's found some ways to lose some.
Well, I don't know. He lost to Silver Dust. He lost to Silver State.
The Mighty Heart race 2 back, he probably should have won.
I don't know. Sprawl was in that photo. Those horses are pretty good. Sprawl ran a very, very respectable race in the Stephen Foster in his next start, in finishing 3rd.
Like I said, I'm going to use. Those are the 4 horses I want to use.
I don't agree with David. I don't think he's going to be 9-5. I don't agree with David.
Oh, I thought our collector would be favored in here.
I don't know that anybody's going to be below 5-2 in this race. A very
No, I agree with that, but I believe it'll be our collector.
I don't know, because Night Ops does have that good recent form. I don't know. This race is a very hard race. Very hard race. Well, I mean, are you going to tell me that Math Wizard? I know you didn't. This one you left out, Sappy Joseph.
This horse has really fallen off form, Andy, hasn't
I
he?
agree with you. Well, but let me just say a couple things about
3 of
it.
his last 4 races just have not been good.
No, you're not right. His race 2 back is actually very good.
I said 3 of his last 4. That's
He runs his race 2
one.
back. He'll probably win here because that was a big gold rail at Gulfstream, and he was way against the track in that race.
He didn't run 2 steps into Woodward, and you have to worry that maybe he didn't like it up here.
He may have gone. No, I don't believe that crap. But he's got races that can win it. If you're going to use the same argument, the art collector, he's going to win it. This horse has race can win it too.
Yeah, but this horse hasn't won in 23 months.
I trust me. But I'll give you a stat. Did I put the stat up? Did I use the stat? Yes. There we go. Thank you.
Boom.
How about that stat?
Good stat. Solid stat.
Then you like that stat, the 4 to 8 months.
Love the 4 to 8 months.
Dirt routes.
Great stat.
10 hitting the board.
Yeah.
So he does have him ready. Listen, Barnes Cold, all I'm saying is this horse is another one who can win.
Sure.
Listen, there was a time Prioritized could win, but he's been bad
he's
in his
fallen
2
off
start.
form
and he
too,
was really bad 2 backs on the gold rail. And Core Beliefs, I kind of originally wanted to give Core Beliefs a look. I just don't know if even his best race is good enough.
Right.
That's my problem.
Right. He'd have to improve, and he's not really in form. He'd have to improve off form to get the money. Hey, listen, if you like him, though, it's going to be a gigantic price. So
it's a fun race.
Yeah.
You never saw Alidar run, did you?
I was.
His
2.
Whitney, to those of us that seen his Whitney, or go to YouTube, there's a crude copy of it on YouTube. When he got away from Affirmed.
A crude copy of it?
A crude, C-R-U-D-E. Yeah, it's just not, it's like an old VCR.
Bad quality, I got you. Okay.
But let me tell you, it doesn't matter. It's worth watching. I watched it around the 8th pole, behind the seats. I remember he blew through by the field on the turn on the inside. What a horse he was, Alidar. Oh, my God. What a horse he was. Race number 9 is the Troy, presented by Horse Racing Ireland. You been to Ireland? I want to go to...
I own land in Scotland.
Well,
I'm a Scottish lord.
Yeah, I know. You're related to William Wallace.
I am. I am William Wallace.
I would love to go to the Irish Champions Weekend, where they run Saturday at Leopardstown and Sunday at the Curragh. The problem is the weekend after we close. And
That's
it's just kind of tough to make that flight after a long meet in Saratoga. But I'm doing it. I'm going eventually. Not this year, but I'm going to do it.
Okay.
So Lee opted to scratch.
He did.
Casa Creed to run the 4-star Dave, a move he'll regret. No, I don't think it was a bad move. I think he was very foolish.
He and we talked about it a little bit.
He thinks the post was bad. The post wasn't bad. The post wasn't bad at all. And the reality is that it's kind of a 2-horse race on paper. It's kind of a 2-horse race between Bound for Nowhere and Imprimis. And we'll take a look at him running 1-2 in the Shakertown. I thought they both ran very well in here. Imprimis had sort of broke through the gate, and I know they're talking about him bleeding after the race. He had maybe cut his nose by hitting it on the gate when he broke through the gate. He's very good. In my heart, I want Imprimis to win because I thought that was I get why they took him down last time. I thought it was a mediocre. It could have left him up. I get it. He did commit a foul.
Oh, last year,
I'm not saying he wasn't there. I think they both fit. I will say that Bound for Nowhere disappointed last time.
He was not good last time.
Now, it was disappointing. But he did take some pressure. Now he draws outside. And he's kind of the outside controlling speed because you knew that a Chateau was sort of a fake.
Right.
He was MTO. To me, it's one of these 2 horses.
I wanted to split them. I'll make it a 3-way party, and I'm going to use Gear Jockey. I really liked this race last time out.
Let's show his race last time out.
I really liked this race. It's over the course. It's going the 5.5 for the first time. I liked this horse's race last time out. He has to improve.
The problem is
he has to improve.
The last time was the time horse, And he's running against a
He has to improve, Andy.
No, he's a. Listen, I put him third, Anthony, so I'm not exactly disagreeing with you. I mean,
know?
this horse, he ran well enough to suggest that Rusty Arnold realized he should be running this horse short. And he got bet last time like they knew he'd run, and he did. And he ran. Now, he's being Shaki Shabazz. He's not being the kind of horse he's facing here. But I don't disagree. I don't think he's impossible, and I think we'll find out more about what he's made of.
Yeah, and he's the kind of horse for me where I'm a pick 4, pick 5 player. He's the kind of horse where if he beats, if he can beat Imprimus and he can beat Bound for Nowhere, he's probably worth a little bit more in those pools than he's going to be on the win board.
Well, I don't know about that, but I'm not sure I agree with that. But what do you do with front runner the Fed, who could win this race? But this is a tough trainer change to take.
It is.
And I got nothing but love for front runner the Fed in my heart.
I would imagine the way the Charlie Appleby horses came over here this summer, and the way Louis riding Lazuli, the number 10. He's never been around this. Now this
we
horse.
have a video of his race 2 back.
Now he's never been around the turn.
Palace House Group 3.
Never been around the turn. This will be the first time he races around the turn. All of his races are on the straight.
That's it for him.
Well, that's interesting to see when he's stuck outside, and he'll be widest of all because Bound for Nowhere is going to get around him. So we'll see how he reacts to a turn.
I think this is a pretty good race by him. Here's the problem I have with him, Anthony. The real problem I have with him is that the European turf sprinters don't have any edge over our turf sprinters.
No, we have the edge. We have the edge.
In general, their horses, turf sprinters, aren't as good as our turf sprinters.
I mean, that's why Wesley Ward goes over. That's why Wesley Ward goes to Ascot and wins. He kind of plays his game when he goes over there.
That's why Vaz went over there and was good. So I don't think he has, and they certainly don't have the edge the horses that go longer do. So that is a bit of a concern with him. But he is an interesting player. It's nice to see Charlie Appleby and Godolphin shipping some horses over here. Yeah. They are represented in this weekend's stakes as well. And I think Lazuli adds a little color to this field. And the beauty of YouTube, getting those replays. So race number 10.
Yes.
I know he's burned some money, and that's being kind. But honestly, I'm not trying to beat digital software. He ultimately, and I'm not blaming Irad, it just worked out. He moved a little too soon. He lost to a first-time starter for Peter Brandt and Chad Brown that ran. I just think he's going to win today.
I don't like the voided claim. He can obviously win this race, and if he runs, quite frankly, if he runs any of his 4 races.
Horses win off voided claims all the time.
Yeah, if he runs any of his 4 races, he's going to win. I took one shot against him with a horse that I thought absolutely, positively needed a race last time, was going to need more ground, drops in, gets the blinkers. It's a big...
Is there a story in this horse?
No, it's a big... I was told this horse could run a little bit first time out, but, probably was in a little over his head.
Did he show you anything in his first start?
Point. No, like I said, though, he came out of the paddock. He was a big, good-looking horse. Looked like he was going to need more ground.
Like you?
Exactly. I'm
not
like
a horse equivalent of you?
Yeah. I'm a big, good-looking individual. The big A picks the big gray. I mean, it's pretty simple.
As far as what actually happened in his race, he broke about length and a half to 2 lengths slow in that race. Now, I will say that Joel worked hard to try to motivate him, and he's doing any running. He did pick a little bit up in the gallop out. I've got him 4th. I could see him as an alternative. I could see Jimmy Dan dropping down, switching to my man Dallas Stewart in this race. Is a slightly interesting horse in here as well. I mean, Bailout never wins, but obviously can get a piece. The interesting horse is Partner's Hope. And there's a couple of problems with Partner's Hope. It's not a turf pedigree, number one, even though there's turf. It's a turf pedigree, but there's the dam side hasn't done anything. It's obviously a turf pedigree. This is a horse that you want on the dirt, because this horse has gotten one ridiculous trip after another on the dirt. Kenny McPeak, going maiden special weight to maiden claimer on the turf over the last 5 years, is 0 for 30 with only 3 hitting the board, which might be one of the most remarkably bad stats I've ever seen in my life. What it really said, and Kenny, by the way, his stats with dirt horses going maiden special and maiden claimer and dirt routes is good, maybe the best stats in that category of anybody in the country. And I think that what that says to me is that in general, Kenny buys dirt horses. And he just doesn't buy turf horses. This one has a bit of a pedigree. But the reality of Partner's Hope is somebody should claim him, and they'll win a dirt maiden race with him in his next start because he's had nothing but bad trips.
Okay.
But it's a stat I can't get away from, but he is a little bit interesting. We'll see what happens. Anthony, it's been fun. It's a tremendous weekend of racing. 12 tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow's first post is 12:35. Anthony will be starting at 11 sharp.
Sharp.
Sharpie.
Like Joe Sharp?
The gates will open at 11, and we'll just be talking away, yakking away.
Okay.
Exciting card, all those stakes tomorrow. The Whitney, the Test is a tremendous race.
Tremendous race.
The Saratoga Derby, it's not a killer field, but it's a great betting race. It's probably I think the Saratoga Derby is actually the best betting race on the entire card.
Could very well
I think
be.
It's a very interesting race. Sunday's card, 3 stakes in that as well. Your horse Viadera is coming back as well.
Yes, looking forward to that.
So sensational racing as we're really heating up, coming to the sales, the Fasig-Tipton sales on Monday and Tuesday. And if you're not a baby like Anthony and you're actually staying around Saratoga, you'll be attending those Saratoga. And if you've never been to Saratoga sales, they're the best bar on earth. It's just the biggest, funnest bar on earth. It's just such a great time. Big crowds, great fun. And Anthony won't be there, so there'll be extra room.
Plenty of extra room.
And
I'm going home.
Opening night, there are big crowds. So lots of good stuff coming up as Saratoga is kicking into gear on day 17. Head over to Naira Bets to participate.
Get involved in this 3-day extravaganza that's coming your way.
We got a 24-day extravaganza ahead of us. The meet starts, 24-day meet. This is it. Beginning of the old meet.
It's all practice.
Promo code SPA200 will match for $200 of your initial deposit. Play through Naira Bets. Honestly, I say it, it's true. You're supporting racing in New York, and you're doing the most important thing we can do, which is keeping the money in the game. And we appreciate the incredible support we've gotten from our fans at this meet, because there is no game without the bettors. And you guys, you keep us alive. You keep jerks like Anthony from starving.
I was going to say, you better include yourself in that.
The Whitney Challenge. Oh, I'm no less of a jerk than anybody. Whitney Challenge, you have until 5 o'clock today. That is tomorrow, online or through coming out here at the track. $3,000 buy-in, seats, the NHC, all kinds of good stuff. Also, we have that $2,000 hit and split. And if you play this and you opt in through Naira Bets, you're the only person to hit the pick 5. Through Naira Bets, you'll not only hit it, you'll get $2,000. I have a friend who got it.
No, the 2 dimes.
I have a friend that got, nobody hit it in a split the other day, and he shared on 5 out of 6 in the pick 6.
That's great.
And he
That's
got
the Sunday card.
like 20% of the pool.
Fantastic.
Also, Zero Live, 1 to 6:30. FS2. And by the way, Anthony Stabile will be making his Cerro Live debut tomorrow.
I will.
Covering the Hambletonian.
Yes.
He will. There's a rumor.
Looking forward to it.
I'm not sure he'll be wearing a driver's gear.
This came up
If
late.
Louis Laz had one, we would have dressed you.
I have silks at home. I used to drive him. I've driven in 9 media races. I have silks
Anthony
at home.
will be wearing a onesie for anybody that wants to come out. Looking forward to that. Biggest onesie ever.
The biggest onesie ever.
It's not clear they can legally call it a onesie.
Did you wear underoos when you were a kid? Did you have underoos? Or they
Anthony,
were a little before you?
I have no idea.
The superheroes on them? I had my Spider-Man underoos. You didn't have underoos? I would love to see you in Spider-Man or Superman
Bye.
underoos. See ya.
See you later.